Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Monday Motivations. Today, we are so excited. We are going to talk about the fact that, yesterday was the Air Force's birthday, so we do have to recognize that. And then we're also going to be talking about, this is now almost the end of September, and we need to get ready for fall and winter. So we're going to be talking about that. So stay tuned. I'm Barbara Ellison, your host of the Mavens of Motivation. And you know what? I'm a transformational life trainer. And I'm just really excited about all the things that are coming down the pike about aging gracefully. So anyways, and here's my best friend and buddy, Carol Henderson. Hi, Carol. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It is a wonderful day. Hadn't the weather just been so beautiful? So beautiful. We'll talk about that some more. But I'm Carol Henderson and I have Life by Design. And I am helping people to up their nutritional IQ, learn how to live the second half of their life better than the first, and to spiral up instead of spiraling down. There is no reason that you should die sick, old, in a hospital bed, tubes coming out of your body. You need to live a full out life all the way through to the end. So that's one of the things that I do. But let's look at the calendar. How many of y'all are having wonderful days that are a little cooler, starting to maybe be just a tiny bit of Christmas in the air? I don't know of anybody whose leaves are changing yet, but if your leaves are changing already, put it down in the chat. We want to know, and we want to know where you're from. It fall. I never could figure out if I liked fall or spring better. And the other day, Keith and I were talking, and he said, "Oh, I like fall better." I said, "But tell me why," because I haven't been able to decide. And he said, "Well, the wind in the spring, I mean, spring is beautiful. The flowers are blossoming, the bees are coming out, and just all the fun things of spring. But here in the panhandle of Texas, the wind is extreme."
Yeah. Yes,
Here at my house, there is a mezzanette site, which is the college's training on how to read all the stuff. There's one just about a block from my house, and a block here is like next door. So we have had winds clocked more than once, but especially at 98 miles an hour. That was in May one year, and my car was totaled because of the wind. So when I say wind, I mean wind. But in the fall, the kind of wind, it's a gentler wind, and it's a cool wind. Like, here, let me cool you off a little bit after those 109-degree weathers. I mean, you can tell we have some extreme weathers, and plus we had the snowpocalypse 2 years ago where we were at -15. So for those of you that are my Canadian friends, check it out in Fahrenheit. One time I told people, they were talking weather, I said, "Well, we get down to -2, -3 on a pretty regular normal winter." And they go, "Oh, that's not bad." And it wasn't until a few months later that I realized they were not converting. So Barbara's from Canada, so what would that be for Americans? A -3?
Oh, it's in the low 30s.
Yeah.
Yes, just about 30 degrees. It's nothing.
But I totally missed that for a couple of months.
Right. But you know what? Talking about the weather, because the weather does impact everything that we do. It really does.
Yeah.
And right now I have to admit, hey, I'm in Chicago, and it's like 90, going to be 90 degrees here today.
Well, it was 94.
September 19th, it's going to be 90 degrees.
Yeah.
And for the next several days. And the thing is that with the heat at such an unseasonable heat, it impacts your motivation. And that's what we talk about all the time, is what kinds of things do I can't talk today. What kinds of things do impact your motivation? You feel, like for me, when it's hot, I just feel lethargic. The thing is, though, our house, we keep it fairly cool. Well, it's 90, it's going to be 90 degrees. So it's not there yet. But you know what? I'm sitting here with a blanket on because it's cold in the
But
house.
90 is unseasonable for y'all this time of year?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hotter. That's hotter.
Okay, because we're in the low
Um,
90s and we're thrilled that it's cooling off. But the beauty about the
yeah,
Panhandle of Texas is we cool down at night. And this time of the
right,
year, during the hot summer, it would cool down to 89. But
right.
right now it's cooling down into the 60s. So it's just so pleasant. You open your windows and doors and
Yeah.
let the outside air in and stuff. And then in the morning it's a little coolish and you have to, you know, wear fuzzy house shoes and fuzzy robe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that was unseasonably hot for y'all.
Yeah. The weather is changing so much. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in Indian summer because that's after the first frost. But now last year we didn't have much of an Indian summer.
Mhm.
So, it's just so many places, like the places that have had rain are drying up. And look at the forest fires, look at the fires that have been going around the country. It just places are on fire that have never been. So all of those things to talk about of motivation. Because when you are impacted by, because when you're impacted by the things around you, it impacts what you're doing. It impacts how you feel and how you respond.
Right.
And so that's one of the things. Yesterday I was sitting in church and they were talking about the things that we should decide on before we start things. And it was just really an interesting sermon. In fact, I after the sermon, I said to my pastor, I said, I think I'm going to steal some of it. But one of the things that really struck me about it was when he was talking about the story of the person, and then who was the big wig that was a representative. And okay, I'm going to tell myself a little bit. In the story, he is the big merchant. He's going on a trip, so he's leaving he's the story of the talents that with some people he gave 5 talents, and with other people he gave 2 talents, and then he gave 1 talent to else. And one of the things that Pastor brought up was that this is a representative of God, of how he gives us talents. He gives us gifts, and how are we using them? And I had to say to him after the service, I went, "Oh, brother, you know what? I've heard that story thousands of times. Well, maybe not thousands of times, but I've been a churchgoer for 25 or 30 years, regularly, but never equated that king with God and his
You've never
subjects.
put it into the marketplace.
I had never put it into the marketplace. Exactly. And so that's where it was just so interesting, because what has God gifted you with?
Yes.
And are you using it?
Mhm.
Or are you being like that? And so when he came back, the guy, the man that he had given the 5 talents to, he had doubled it. Oh, well done, good and faithful servant. The one that he had given 2 talents to. Well done, good and faithful servant. But what did the one that he had given 1 talent to? Well, that person had hidden his talent, not used it, buried it in the ground. And that's where I think is the crux of the motivation. Are you letting being stuck make you put your talent? Are you burying your talent in the ground?
Well, and something that has always stuck out to me in that particular story is when he came back and the guy said, I buried it. But then
You
he goes,
bury
I knew you were a harsh man.
man.
And especially when you think of it, it's God.
Right.
In what way is he harsh?
Right. He
Our
gave
God
you
is a loving
everything.
God. He had
Yes.
given everything. But
Yeah.
there are people that think, oh, well, let's go down. We'll just preach a sermon here. Yesterday was Sunday. If people that say, oh, I can't get saved, talk to me when I'm on my deathbed. I'll get saved then. Well, you don't know when your deathbed's going to come, and that bed may
Exactly.
be this long. But,
Mhm.
people say, well, I like what I'm doing. I mean, let's face it, sin can be fun. And yet
Mhm.
there's a price to pay.
Right.
There's a price to pay, and most people don't want to, or I won't say that. Some people don't want to pay that price. And
Right.
yes, I guess on those people could consider him a and hard taskmaster, wanting them
Right.
to give up whatever. But that part has always stood out to me. But oh yes, that definitely. And your talents can be things. Your talent could be business. It could
Right.
be, singing. It could be
Right.
money management. It could be
Right.
hosting a show. And
It could
there,
be being a mom. Whatever
yes,
your talent
yeah,
is,
yes. Well, and there,
celebrate that talent.
yeah, Lance Wallnau has a book out called The Seven Mountains. If you've not heard it, it is a great read. But there are seven mountains, and uh, let's see if I can remember all seven of them. There's the mountain of education,
Mhm.
entertainment, media. Those are different ones. Uh, Government, church, family. Help me, Barbara.
Don't know. Don't
Uh,
remember.
I had a shirt that I had them. I designed a shirt that had it all on it. I should run up and get it. But anyway, but there's seven areas that we are supposed to conquer, those summits.
Yes.
We as believers are to be on those mountains. And TV is a great example. In back in the 50s when TV started coming out, they were going, oh, that's of the devil. We want nothing to do with it. We want, or government. How many times as a child were you told, don't ever talk about religion or politics?
Right.
Well, so people of faith walked out of politics. People of
Right.
faith walked out of TV. Well, when there's a vacuum, guess what shows up?
The
The
devil just
lowest
shows up.
common denominator.
Right. Right.
So anyway.
Yes. Exactly. So, and we're not beating you up. However,
No,
if
no.
you have a message that you just feel like you're being nudged, like we talk about nudges all the time. So if you feel like you are being nudged
Mm.
to share something, because you might not think of it as a talent, but you know what? There something that you are good at is
Mhm,
something that you have been gifted with.
mhm,
So, if you're gifted with something that you do really well and you're not using it for the betterment of somebody else, that's what they're talking about here.
mhm.
That's
And you
when
may not know.
you're
Yeah,
burying your talent.
yeah. You may not think of yourself as being gifted in it. You may just think of it's normal.
Right,
Well,
exactly.
okay, example from my life, helping people get off prescription drugs, helping people to get healthier. And I kind of took that as normal life, to take
Right,
somebody on 23 prescriptions and drop them down to two, and not even
right,
full amounts.
exactly.
And it was, sharing with people like Barbara and other friends that would hear the story, and they're going, you need to tell people about this. You need to share this. And I wasn't hiding it, because people that knew me, even in the modeling agency days, the parents would send the kids to me. So they
Yeah,
knew that I had that talent, but it
right,
was not something that I was promoting.
right.
So it wasn't buried, but it was kind of thrown over in the corner. And if somebody asked for it, I'd go dust it off and give them the info.
Right. Exactly.
So
And that's one of the things. So that to me is like the word of the day within that story was well done, good and faithful.
mhm,
So what are you being faithful in within your business? That you can use to get you motivated.
Yes.
Because you know what? If you sometimes you do have to motivate yourself, but if you're having trouble being motivated and getting motivated, well, look at what you're doing and look at what you're being faithful in.
Mhm.
Are you being faithful in gardening? Could you teach somebody how to garden? There
Mhm.
are people out there that would love to have somebody teach them what flowers to put. Like I know a gal that her flower beds are absolutely never empty. She has them all that every season the perennials come up. And all she has to do is take out the perennials that have died because she's all got them seasoned. Oh, her gardens always look beautiful. That's a talent.
Mhm.
If you have something like that, wow. There are people like me that couldn't grow anything. I have no clue even how to start. But if I really wanted to learn, that's the thing about being motivated. See what other people around you are looking for. And then see, gee, I can do that. Oh, I can do that. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, I know how to do that.
Well, and there's another scripture that goes kind of with that, and it says, "Those that are faithful in a little, they'll be given
Right.
much."
They'll
So if
be
you,
given
if you sit, okay, Barbara's a good example. If you sit and see people doing shows and think, I kind of like, I'd like to share, I'd like to do that, but you don't know how. So she started going on, it wasn't
Instagram.
TikTok,
Instagram.
Instagram, and doing little 15-minute snippets, 15-second snippets.
Second.
15-second snippet. She was faithful in the little, and now she's on 4, 5 podcasts that
Yeah.
she's the co-host on.
Yeah. But you start somewhere. It doesn't have to be something big. However, the key word there is start.
Hmm. And faithful.
Start
Start and
and then be faithful.
faithful.
Because it starts with, are you ready? Are you ready? Well, what are you going to be ready for? Hmm. You know, it can be anything. There is one of the things, and in fact, I said it to a friend of mine today. There are 7 billion people here on this planet. Chances are somebody else has your same talent and would love to collaborate.
Well, and that's how we ended up together. It's
Exactly.
doing that. And I was sharing with Keith, I truly think that learning all this stuff, and there's some stuff to learn to do these
Mhm.
podcasts. There's some technical stuff and things you have to do, and we're still tweaking how to do that,
Yep.
especially scheduling things. But the but my husband has a ministry, and we have known for a long time that it will be a very busy ministry. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I won't go any further there, but I think I'm going, and we've started doing some podcasts with him. And
Mhm.
in fact, even before COVID, I wanted to put his book on video and did not, I couldn't quite figure out the technical part of it. And now that Barbara, I've done this, we did some podcasts for him the other day, and it was easy breezy. It's like, oh, I've got that down. I don't
Mhm.
need all the special equipment that I thought I needed. And I did, and I tried during COVID, but the sound was not loud enough, and I didn't know what to do. Now, everybody says, use your phone, use your phone. I didn't think about sitting him in front of the computer and doing a Zoom. I knew
Right.
about Zoom before COVID. I was on Zoom before
Right.
COVID. But,
Exactly.
so that's just something he and I need to block some time for him to come and read into the camera because we want it to be his voice. And
Right.
that way we can put it up. And, his book is available for sale at very minimal cost. We put it at the least that Amazon would let us, but this way they could listen to it for free in their car and
Mhm.
such. So that's an
Right.
exciting thing. And so I
Yeah.
think that me being faithful in this is going to
Mhm.
open up a whole world in his life of me knowing the technical. But I think
Mhm.
that's why I'm getting all this practice.
Right. Exactly. And one of the things that today too is that we were talking about all of those things that go into doing so many things. But you know what? You don't have to know how to do everything in
Mm,
order to get started. You just need to know how to do the first thing.
mhm.
And once you learn the first thing, then, oh, well, that's okay. Like, okay, I'm going to tell on myself a little bit. So doing social
Aw,
media
you
stuff,
never do that.
I don't do that. Yeah, exactly. That's one of the things. Be authentic.
Yeah,
If you are trying to be somebody that you are not, that is going to touch your motivation because you will not be able to sustain it. Be
right.
yourself.
Well, and
Yourself.
you cannot, you, perfection doesn't exist. You need to go
Exactly.
for excellence, not perfection.
Right.
If you go for perfection, you'll always be dissatisfied. You'll always be unhappy and uncomfortable in your own skin.
Right. Exactly. So anyway, so one of my things is that I have not been really faithful. It's our word of the day. I have not been really faithful about consistently doing social media, even though I know how important it is, to get your message out, to get the message out, and to really be a good example to the people that I'm trying to teach. Well, guess what? I have not been quite so faithful with it. Well, you know what? God is a good God. And I have found out about a new social media tool. And I am loving it, and I'm gonna give them a
She's
plug.
gonna
It's
teach
called
me.
so I'm gonna teach Carol, it's called Social Curator. And the biggest thing for me was what Carol and I have just talked about, schedule. So sometimes your schedule can be your best friend, and sometimes your schedule can be your worst taskmaster. But on the other hand, is who is in charge of your schedule? Well, we are. So I had to say, all right, I have got to figure out how to do the social media, but also do it in a timely manner and do it and get a schedule that works for me. Well, guess what? This social curator, I can create my post and I can schedule it right on the site. I don't have to go anywhere else. It just click of a button. I can either post it right now or I can schedule it with a day and time to auto post.
I can't wait to learn this.
I am so excited. So I am just her name is I'm just blanked out her name, Star. Jasmine Star. And she has put together, but you think, see, the thing is too, I'm going to brag slightly. When I looked at it, I said, all right, I'm not going to just try to do this on my own. So that's another part of motivation. If you are having trouble with motivating yourself, find somebody to do it with you.
Mhm.
Find somebody to help you. You don't have to do this alone. So anyway, but she had created a training video, and then one of her team members created a, a training video. I watched both of them, watched parts of it over and over and over again, took notes. But by the end of that time that I had set to learn, it was like, oh, this is going to be so easy. And so then it was like, it also came with a free trial. Oh, try things. Try things. If you don't know how to do it, try it. If it doesn't work for you, okay, you haven't lost anything. But by several hours later, I went, okay, I don't need the free trial. I love this. I'm going to be using it. So then I signed up for it. So now I've got a month to continue. If it is, am I going to be faithful at using this tool? Right at this second, I am loving it. So I truly believe that it will be. But you know what? The proof is in the pudding. So 3 weeks from now, if I'm still posting, you'll know that, hey, I'm working at it, but I'm doing them. So yesterday I did all my posts. Well, I did 5 of the posts. I need 2 more. I'm going to do 2 more posts. And it was so easy to do. So now I've got my next week's posts already done.
That is just so amazingly cool.
And I'm like, wow, this is, and so now, the thing is though, because when you start with one little thing, I can't wait till, gee, what's going to happen when I'm up to doing 2 or 3 posts a day? Ooh, that's going to be fun. I'm
Well,
going to
and
be able
it's
to
fun
promote
because
our
it's not
shows.
hanging over your head all week,
And then
all
it's not
day, all week. Yeah.
right. And so by finding the tool that works for you, it, number one, frees up your schedule,
Mhm.
keeps you out of overwhelm. And overwhelm is one of the biggest things about motivation.
Mhm. It's the
Because
biggest, it's the biggest
it's
obstacle to
the
motivation, I think,
biggest
because
obstacle.
it can paralyze you and you
You
just
just
sit and think, oh, I've got to do
you don't know what to do next. And I truly believe that is what happens to so many people.
well, it,
Because a confused mind does nothing.
mhm. Well, and so many entrepreneurs or so many people who have a great idea. Do you have an idea rolling around in your head that would benefit humanity, but you don't know what to do or how to do it?
Mhm.
There are so many things out there. So,
Okay, I have to tell you, I'm going to laugh. You're going to laugh. The other day, one of the things that I start out my day with is with gratitude. And so lots of times when I am, in the morning and I'm in the ladies' room, and it's like, oh, thank you, Lord, for running water.
oh, amen.
Whether I take a shower, whether I'm showering or whatever, is thank you, Lord, for running water.
Mhm. I do it. I
But
like a bath at night and I get in and I think, oh Lord, thank you for hot running water
thank you
and
for
a
hot
big
water.
tub.
But my thought was, as I was just, oh, thank you, Lord, for indoor plumbing, I was thinking, I wonder who invented indoor plumbing. And I can remember where was it? We were at, I think it was in Flagstaff. And there was one of the original pioneer houses that were considered to be really it was a wealthy ranch. I don't remember the name of it, but I know it's by Flagstaff. And it was in the 1920s. Well, they showed the exact how the bathroom then worked. Because they didn't call them bathrooms, they were water closets. Well, how did they get the water from the bottom to the top? It was just such a fascinating process. And now, how dare we complain about having to pull a knob and turn it to get hot water?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my stars. But who invented it?
Yeah.
It's like getting in it. Like one day I got into an elevator. Otis. Who's Otis? But he invented elevators. Do we know who he was? No, but he had the perseverance. He had the belief. He was faithful in he did not let lack of motivation from all the failures. Like, look at Thomas Edison.
I was fixing
How
to
many
say, look at how many times he failed forward.
failing forward.
He
So
knew.
that's, so I know we were supposed to talk about how to prepare for fall, but we did talk about the weather, so that was a good thing.
We'll
But
get to the preparation on another show. So,
no,
and actually, we are probably going to do another news break on exactly what do you do. You know, we did the what do you do when it's 109 degrees out. How do you keep cool? Because I thought it was just ridiculous. It's 109 at my house, and Barbara had, Googled how do you stay cool in hot weather, and they said go into an air conditioned building, and I'm going, what if you don't have air conditioning?
right.
And at 109 degrees, I had friends that had no air conditioning because it was going out right and left all over the area.
Okay,
Same
well, we
thing.
drove across the desert with no air conditioning because the air conditioning in my car went out as we drove across the desert,
Well,
and
it
it was
worked if it was
110
cold outside.
until it got
If
cold
it was
outside. Then the air
nighttime
conditioning
or
kicked in.
raining, it was cold. I mean, blasting cold, not just cool outside air.
Yeah. So,
But
anyways,
anyway, and so we do want to do one, we did that one and we did another one about what if the grid goes down, because they've talked about it in the
right,
summer, the grid going down and having no electricity. So
right.
we have those two shows that are up on our pages. And we want to do one on how do you stay warm in the winter? What do you do if for some reason or another, I mean, people here during the snowpocalypse, down in the Dallas and Houston area, which are nowhere nearly as prepared for cold as we are up here in the Panhandle. They were without power for 11 days.
Yeah.
They could not flush their potties. They could not take a bath. The hotels were full, so you didn't get to just, oh, well, I'll just go down to the nearest, Hilton. And no, they were full. And we're talking, I mean, across this wide swath. And then as things did start thawing, one person had gotten all their stuff fixed, and it turned out there were still pipes in the house broken. I mean, there were pictures that it was horrific of waterfalls, frozen waterfalls off of upstairs balconies indoors.
Indoors.
And out of well, in fact, it was my pastor and his wife down in Dallas that they had everything all fixed, they thought, and they turned the water back on. I mean, they did end up in a hotel for a few days, but I mean, they were at their house for I think 9 days, and then were finally able to get somewhere else. But they turned on the water, and it just started pouring out of their ceiling fan over the bed.
Oh.
So, yeah. So
So
how do you prepare? What do you do to forestall problems? What do you do to stay warm if something happens? So with that, we're gonna log off, and I will
yep. So
see
now we've
But
you've let us go down. Thank you for coming down our little bunny trail with us but you know what? I truly believe that the things that we talk about are because we're supposed to be talking about them. And so really, you know what? Just be motivated. If you're not, find somebody to help you get motivated.
Mhm.
Find a tool that will help you to be motivated,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And you know what? And if you need to, reach out.
Yes.
Let us know. Reach out to us.
Please share. Please like and
Share
share
some out.
and tell your friends about us. We will talk to you later.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.